Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we'll be talking about a very budget, very good looking chronograph, the Rollstimi RT7931. Now, I've been doing quite a few Rollstimi reviews. Some of them are absolutely spectacular and some are complete flops. But on the most part, if you don't go for the very budget Rollstimis like 20-30 bucks, they are not very good. They're mostly alloy cases, blah, blah. But if you go 40 plus, you're going to find some amazing watches. And this chrono is just like it. So first of all, turquoise blue, but you can have this sunset orange or red-orange color, or you can have just a white dial. I went for this blue one because I think it looks spectacular. There are a lot of perks about this watch. We get a boxy synthetic sapphire crystal. As well as that, it is slightly domed, so it's nice. There are 3 functional subdials, powered by the VK63, a Seiko mecha-quartz movement, 0.2 seconds precision. There is a lot to say about this watch. And just like the common premium components, like a signed screw-in crown, screw-down case back, 100 meters of water resistance. Everything is stainless steel. This is a fully brushed design. We get screw pins, not push pins. A signed, milled clasp. There are so many strong points about this watch, I really want to tell you about it. And all it cost me was $60. So definitely an interesting piece. In fact, I think this watch will be replacing my everyday wearer now, the Black Bay Flamingo Homage by Pagani Design. So this Pagani design here is also around 60 bucks. But these two chronos, I think they're both excellent, but this one, this Rollstimi, is growing on me, and I think it's going to take my wrist now. But anyways, I really want to tell you about this Rollstimi watch, so that's what I'm going to do in this review. Stick around because I think you're going to find another ultra budget piece which suits, just basically good horology loving folk. Anyways, the link to the listing will be in the description below the video, so do check it out if you're after a sharp price. And now let's dive in and talk about the details. Now let's move into dimensions, because on wrist, this thing plays a smart balancing act. The case diameter is 40 millimeters, a perfect middle ground size for both small and large wrists. The thickness comes in at 13.3 millimeters, not 13.8, as some listings might claim, and that's mostly due to the boxy sapphire crystal that sits just a touch above the bezel. It gives the watch a slightly domed profile that plays nicely with light without overdoing it. Lug width is 20 millimeters and tapers down to 18 millimeters at the clasp, standard proportions that keep the silhouette classic and wearable. Now here's where things get interesting. The lug-to-lug length is listed as 48 millimeters, but that's not entirely accurate. With the protruding male end links on the bracelet, you're actually looking at a total effective lug-to-lug of around 52 millimeters. On paper, that sounds large, but it doesn't translate to an awkward fit on wrist. Because the lugs are curved and slope downward, the watch still manages to hug the wrist well and doesn't feel oversized. And speaking of wrist presence, the weight without any links removed comes in at 145 grams. It's got heft, no doubt, but it's the kind of heft that feels solid, not bulky. It reassures you that this isn't some hollow tin can case. It's a proper build. So from the jump, you've got a hybrid movement, full steel construction, sapphire crystal, signed and screwed in hardware, and a rock-solid bracelet, all wrapped in a profile that works across wrist sizes. At this price point, that's not just good, it's impressive. Now, considering the seemingly significant lug-to-lug length of 52 millimeters, you'd expect some overhang, especially on a smaller wrist. But here's the surprise. There isn't any. Even on my relatively slender 6.5-inch wrist, this thing sits like it was made for it. And the reason is all in the case profile. If you look closely at the lugs, they point down, almost vertically. They don't ease down gradually. They drop off the case like they've got a job to do. That aggressive downturn gives the bracelet a sort of natural pivot, and as a result, the whole watch hugs the wrist like a fitted glove. It wraps around you rather than sitting awkwardly on top. And because of that smart lug design, the 52mm length becomes a non-issue. There's no visual bulk and there's zero overhang. Now yes, this is a rather tall case, no doubt about that, but it wears its height with a bit of grace. The mid-case gets a soft convex shape, not fully rounded, but enough curvature to smooth out the profile. It's not a box, it's not a pillow, but it leans into that slight curvature just enough to feel refined. The brushing on the flanks is consistent with the rest of the case. No high polish, no flash, just clean horizontal grain that keeps the overall aesthetic low-key and tool-like. The transition to the lug hoods is handled beautifully. Smooth bevels ease the eye from case to lugs, and the end links slot in with nearly seamless integration. There's no weird step down, no misalignment. The brushing style and the tone are all on point. There's a clear design language here, and it's cohesive all the way through. And yes, this is definitely a layered case design. Sitting on top, we've got the fixed tachymeter bezel, also fully brushed. Again, no polished chamfers or rims, but because of the different angles, the flat top, the sloped outer edge, you still get interesting light play. It's not reflective or shiny, but the varying geometry gives it movement under light, and that's a great trick for a watch this subtle. Now let's talk color. The bezel itself is a deep navy blue. It's crisp, serious, and visually anchors the case. The white tachymeter markings pop really well. They're sharp, legible, and free from any bleeding or fuzziness. And when that bezel frames the sky blue turquoise toned dial, it just works. The blue on blue contrast gives you that modern retro feel that's eye-catching without being loud. On the right-hand side, the setup is familiar but well executed. You've got your two chrono pushers, both screw down for that extra seal of confidence, and nestled between them is the screw-in crown, measuring 6.8mm in diameter. It's easy to grip and operate, and it's signed at the tip with the Rollstimi logo. That logo detail alone gives the watch a boost in perceived quality. It's that little touch that says, yeah, we cared enough to finish the job properly. All in all, the case architecture is layered, clean, and highly wearable. It's not just about mimicking a style, it's a proper execution of it. Let's move on to one of the biggest strengths of this watch, the bracelet. Because for a watch in this price range, what you're getting here is nothing short of impressive. We've got a traditional 3-link design, fully brushed, and that's the perfect call. A brushed bracelet not only keeps the look consistent with the case, but it's also a practical choice. It masks those inevitable micro scratches that come from everyday wear. So even after weeks or months of use, it still looks fresh. Unlike high-polished bracelets that show every tiny mark. But here's where it really surprises. This bracelet is held together with screw pins. That is not something you typically see on a $60 watch. Honestly, that alone puts it ahead of a lot of sub-100 pieces. Now the clasp. It's another standout. It's brushed across the top, with these subtle polished chamfers coming in from the flanks to frame it. Pop that clasp open, and you're greeted with a fully milled wing inside. No pressed metal here. That's yet another surprise at this price point. It feels sturdy and premium in the hand, and adds to the overall confidence you get from the watch. As for tolerances, no, they're not the tightest in the world, but they're far from sloppy. You get excellent link fluidity, and articulation isn't restricted in any way. This bracelet moves well, wears comfortably, and flexes naturally on the wrist. Alright, so now we hit prime time, center stage, and that is, of course, the dial and crystal setup. Sitting up top is a slightly boxed, slightly domed synthetic sapphire crystal, and let me tell you, it makes all the difference. It instantly elevates this watch into a higher class. It's not overly vintage, not exaggerated, just clean and classy. That soft box shape adds dimension without feeling retro, and it plays beautifully with light. It's a premium move, especially at this price. Now, once you fall through that sapphire lens, you're met with a bold sky blue dial, almost turquoise, and it just pops. This colorway really gives it a summer-ready, breezy vibe. It's bright, it's cheerful, and it pairs perfectly with the darker navy blue tachymeter bezel circling it. That contrast is sharp. It's fun without being flashy. Now, when it comes to lume, don't expect anything too wild here. Only the hour and minute hands are lumed, and while that'll give you basic legibility at night, it's definitely the weakest point of this setup. The strips are thin and not super long lasting. Still, in daytime, no issue whatsoever. This watch is legibility first. Around the dial, we've got chrome-edged applied Albertons, which elevate the look. You also get a clean minor chapter ring along the outer edge, bringing just enough structure to balance the bold color. Under the hood, this is powered by the Seiko VK63 mecha-quartz movement. That means you get a mechanical-like chronograph sweep with 0.2 second precision. The 3 sub-dials, 60-minute counter, 24-hour clock, and running seconds, now all finished in crisp white with a subtle sunburst, which adds both contrast and polish. So what did you think? Is the Rollstimi a good chronograph? Is it a good buy? Personally, I think yes, it is a massively good buy. And as I mentioned, this Pagani design, yeah, it was on my wrist for about a month and a half, and I absolutely loved it. It got so much attention. I'll be leaving a link to it at the end of this video. But I want something fresh, so I'm gonna go for this Rollstimi now. I'm gonna be wearing this. Yeah, 60 bucks, such a sharp price, and we're getting so much that I seriously, it's going to take a lot for me to go out and buy very similar styled items for like 150, 200 bucks. Anyways, the link to the listing will be in the description below the video, so do check it out if you're after a sharp price. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.